We're gonna hunt to one song and one song only. Yee-hoo! Yeah! So a shop so long Walmart wanna hire me. The cashiers admire me. Got some 50% off coupons, hope they ain't expired, G. Watch out for falling prices. Get you a pack of them flavor ices. Undershirts, 2 for $3. Go grab a double XL for me. Shop so hard, look at that TV. Some bitch a flat screen LCD. Resolution's 480p, that's good enough for a hillbilly like me. Praise the Lord like Tebow. Clearance rack is where we go. Wrangler jeans, pork and beans, Jeff done them on my TiVo. Shop so hard, stuff's cheap. Shop so hard, stuff's cheap. Shop so hard, I'm serious, this is a bargain. She said she wanna go shopping at the mall. I said, when's Walmart open? Somebody call. I need some camo pants from the big and tall. NASCAR hats, Kool-Aid packs, and handy snacks. Y'all all get some Skull vanilla. Back to school folders, Manila. Naked gun with Priscilla. Cedar chips for my chinchilla. Diabetes, my illness. My toes ain't got no feelings. I'm gonna pound back some Millers till I breathe fire like Godzilla. Shop so hard, this stuff's cheap. Shop so hard, this stuff's cheap. Shop so hard. Hey, you see this here Major League double pack, man? They got 1 and 2 in the same thing. Yeah, give me one of them tribal steering wheel covers while you're over there.
That one was pretty good. Now that's a good cut right there. I'm not much of a rap music fan. I'm more of a George Strait fan. But I like that one. That one was all right. Ball so hard, motherfuckers want to find me. What's up, everybody? It's Chad Zumock. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to my boy Miles. I put that little cut together a while back. Never got a chance to air it. Until now, on the podcast, Sit Down Zumock Podcast, weekly. By the way, thank you, everyone, for helping the Sit Down Zumock Podcast get to the news and noteworthy on iTunes Comedy. We were right there, number 11. Boom! Boom! Right up there with Norm Macdonald and Joan Rivers. You know why that happened? Because you guys all downloaded the podcast. You played the podcast. You left a comment. You left a rating. And the country saw that. The kid from Cleveland, people, almost broke the top 10. So keep sharing this with your friends, man. Tell your friends about the podcast. Get it out there. Put it in your phone. Download it. This is a cool thing that's going on. Like I said from the beginning, it's very grassroots. And the fact that we have over 10,000 subscribers in over 2 months is amazing. It's surreal. And the people that tune in, subscribe, leave comments, leave donations at sitdownzumock.com, leave me tweets, Facebook me, email me, call me on my house phone, come up to me while I'm at Giant Eagle in the cereal line buying my Fruity Pebbles because I have the diet of a 16-year-old pregnant woman and telling me they love the podcast. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do. But I want to thank Frizzon Media. Every week I thank Frizzon Media. You know why? Because they've been on board since the beginning. Day one, Frizzon Media stepped up and they helped me bring you this podcast every week. So thank you, Frizzon Media. And if you need anything for media needs, commercials, B-roll, time lapses, hell, you want a wedding filmed, holler at Frizzon Media. They can do it all. I don't know if they do weddings. I know they do. I know they did that Jay-Z video, N-Words in Paris. They actually seriously filmed and directed that. I'm just kidding. I just want Frizzon Media to look really cool. Wait, I'm already doing it with the Sit Down Zumock podcast. They don't need to look any more cool. All right, before we get to this week's episode, I got to get a couple plugs out of the way. I got some stand-up shows. I've been doing an awful job at updating my calendar on the website. I apologize. I wish I had a better excuse. I have none. I want to let you know that I'm going to be, check this out, first time ever, I'm going to be in Parma. Yes, I'm coming home, Parma. I'm not from there, but I did run for mayor, and I lost to Tim DeGeeter. But I'm going to be there Wednesday, May 29th, 9:30 p.m. at the Brew Garden on Pearl Road, 5513 Pearl Road in Parma. It's a free show. It's May 29th, Wednesday. I'm going to be joined by comedians Mike Head Mike Farrell and Josh Womack. So put that in your calendar. And then 2 weeks later, a very special show just announced on my podcast. Put this in your calendar. This is a good one. At Vosh in Lakewood, the new room that I'm running every single Wednesday, second week of every month. June 12th, 9 p.m. show. We are doing a benefit show for the 3 ladies that were found over on Seymour, Amanda, Michelle, Gina. We're raising money. 100% of all door goes to the victims. We're going to be doing some raffles. We're going to have some celebrity guests dropping by, some Cleveland notables, some live entertainment, comedy. Got to have comedy. Where there's pain, there's comedy. And we're going to be raising money for those girls. I actually was hit hard with that story when it first came out. And you would think, oh, Chad, you have feelings? I didn't think so either. But it really affected me, and it's a really screwed up situation. And, you know, like, what do you do in that situation? So I thought, you know what? How about I take my comedy show and I give all the proceeds to those girls because they got man, do they got an uphill battle. It's a horrible story. The details are just horrific. And the way the media, those bloodsuckers are just digging up all this dirt and, it's just, I feel bad. I really do. It's a horrible situation. But anyways, like I said, June 12th, 9 p.m., we'll be doing that benefit show. And 2 weeks later, at the same place, Vosh, June 26th, I'll be there with comedian Don Jameson from That Metal Show. And a good friend of the podcast, Joe Hauer, will be doing a show there, 9 p.m. show. But I hope you can make it to all of them. If you can't, I understand. You'll have to catch me some other time. Just keep listening to the podcast. All right, this week's podcast. Let's get to it. Great podcast. Oh, so much fun. I had comedian Craig Gass. You might remember him from the Howard Stern Show. He was on Sex and the City. What else? He's done countless roasts, the Dee Snider roast, does voices for the Family Guy. He's probably one of the best impressionists out there. Amazing impressions and great stories. I had a chance to sit down with him, have a great conversation. I was joined by comedians Ramon Rivas, who does a great open mic and a couple shows around town, and my co-host, Hot Carl. They join us for a nice conversation over at the East 4th Harry Buffalo, downtown Cleveland. In the very beginning, we're joined by the lovely Caitlyn, who works there. And it's kind of funny because we're waiting for Craig to show up, and we just kind of start the podcast, not even realizing what's going on. But I hope you enjoy this week's podcast, everyone. I'm done. Holler at your boy. Yeah, we did it.
Bunch of bullshit. 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 Bunch of bullshit.
Sit down, Sonic.
Are you going to go crazy and want a baby?
No.
No?
You don't want babies?
No.
I want to marry you right now.
I'm too into myself.
I
a big
want.
fan.
I want to be into yourself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Why don't you want any babies? I don't want kids either. I
Talk
mean,
into
I
the
think they're
microphone.
overrated.
Caitlyn, talking to the microphone so my listeners can hear you. My 10,000 plus listeners can hear
5,000 are
female
mine.
voice.
Plus one.
And plus one.
Put it by your
I
mouth.
think you're the second
Okay.
girl that's been on this podcast. First one was Melissa Reed,
The Asian?
the Asian reporter.
The Asian chick. I just saw her in a picture and scene. She was with Dick Goddard. Fucking Dick Goddard. Taking all
don't like
my
Dick Goddard?
radio, TV, vagina. I like him.
Yeah. Well, he's an icon, Cleveland icon.
How the fuck is Wilma Smith is about to retire and he's still working? He was already there 20 years before she started.
How old's Wilma Smith?
I don't know, 90.
I-
Same age as a queen.
I love the whole story the whole story. Your mom working at Higbee's. Did you hear this?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was when the Asian was here.
Yeah, you heard that? And
Yeah.
and she had like sunglasses on and a babushka.
Yes.
She's like, don't tell anyone, but I'm Wilma Smith.
My mom's like, I watched Channel 3. I can't remember who that reporter was.
Caitlyn, who's the most famous person you ever met?
Hot Carl.
Well,
Besides me.
besides Hot Carl, I would have to go with.
Dick Trickle.
I think
He's
I
dead.
met Richard Gere from.
Blew his head off
Richard
yesterday.
Gere.
Did you know that?
Where did you meet Richard Gere?
He was Unfaithful.
The movie?
Yeah. My cousin did something on the set, and he was there.
So what do you say to her, Richard Gere?
I don't know. Can I?
Did you ask him about the gerbiling?
Suck your dick?
Did you
Suck his dick!
No, he.
Yeah, he'd be
we were
sucking
just,
his dick and a fucking ferret will fly out his ass. Sorry about that.
He was just walking by. He's like a busy guy, and I'm really busy, so it's just like, what's up?
Is it, hey, what's up,
What's up?
Richard Gere?
Yeah.
How tall was he?
I don't know.
He was hot though.
Would you bang him?
No, I wouldn't.
What celebrity would you bang?
Hot Carl.
Mr. JT?
Who?
Justin Timberlake?
Hot Carl with roofies. Right?
No, I don't like Justin Timberlake. I feel like he's kind of a wankster.
You think he's a
No.
tool?
Yeah, kind of.
What's a wankster?
Alex Rodriguez, since you're a Yankees fan and you're from New York.
No, I don't know. I'm not.
Derek
a big,
Jeter?
Your vagina would fall off if you
Despite-
banged A-Rod.
Chauncey Billups?
No.
I'm just throwing out
not
names
into,
at this point.
Definitely not into that shit.
Any black guys?
No.
Hot Carl, that's good.
That's good.
I'm just kidding. Hi, racist.
So, like, who's your guy then?
If you say Scott
I
Bale,
think-
I'm gonna throw
We're
you
just
through a
killing
window.
time before Craig Gass gets here. I don't
Right,
know where
yeah.
he's at. I told him we were upstairs. Go ahead.
Is he here?
Yeah,
I mean, because I have like tables downstairs and stuff.
oh, really? Oh, wait, you're working right now. This is great. So there's people, they want their fucking chicken.
Where's my waitress? What is she doing? A fucking podcast? Jesus
That's why I can't have
Christ!
kids. I just do whatever the fuck I want.
How long does it take to make fucking chicken
You know
fingers?
what's the difference between us and Frizzon Media right now? Is you're the only one getting paid for this.
Oh snap!
I'm in the same boat. Sorry, Tyler.
I like it when you bring home the bacon. I'll fry it up in a pan.
Do you like a guy to take care of you?
No.
You're an independent woman,
Yeah.
like Beyonce?
Something like that.
I don't
That's
know.
good for Hot Carl.
Yeah. What?
No,
What do you look
because,
for in a girl, Hot Carl?
Everything that Caitlyn possesses.
And you
No,
are an
but
attractive girl, too,
Thank you.
when it comes to women.
Right.
Someone to kick my ass around the bedroom. You know, I'm into that shit.
Are you really?
Yeah, but no, you can't just. I don't want to hang out that much either.
I don't want to hang out either.
All right, good.
So you want a guy just to leave you alone?
Yeah.
That's what you look for in a guy. Just
Yeah.
leave me the fuck alone.
Right. Exactly.
I got shit to do. I gotta go tanning.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the casino buffet.
I do love the casino buffet.
I haven't been there.
Drink.
Hot date.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bet out on black. Well, maybe Rip, since you like.
Who's the
them
most
long
famous person coming to East Fort Harry Buffalo, where we're recording this every single Saturday at 4?
You.
enough. Larry
That would
Nance.
have to be you.
Delonte West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
I saw Craig Sager in here from TNT.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have too. He's been in here a few times.
He's a drunk. That dude was just throwing shots back.
I heard that
He's funny.
that dude hooks up with like a lot of hot chicks.
Who, Craig Sager?
Yeah.
Well, he's on TV.
Must be those pink fucking
And then
jumpsuits he
some
wears.
some basketball team was in here.
Who?
Uh,
Was it a WNBA team?
no.
Was it the Rutgers women?
No. It was who's in from California, not the Lakers.
Oh, Golden State Warriors.
No, not the Warriors.
Sacramento,
Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
the Lakers.
Wait,
No,
you
I
told
know
me that
that.
story. They actually came
Yeah,
here
what's
for
that
dinner.
Guy, that short guy with the floppy hair. He's famous, but I don't know.
Short guy with the floppy hair. Do you guys know? Oh, Craig.
Verjao.
And by hair, I mean.
Here, I need
No.
another chair.
All right, I'm gonna go check on my table.
All right, that ends that segment. Thank you.
Caitlyn, where can we find you on Twitter? Where you at, Caitlyn, so my listeners can stalk you?
That would be Caitlyn
Caitlyn Cassidy, with 2 C's, right?
Nice fake name.
You got a website? This is a real loose podcast. People just come and go. Our next guest coming, he's on his way in.
Are those chicks with anybody? Are they with us?
The ones over there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, have them fucking start dyking out.
This is a family podcast. We can have that. I want to ask Craig what it was like being on Sex in the City.
He probably want to blow his head off
Yeah.
and bang that chick that was in Porky's. I don't even know her name.
Yeah. How's it going, Craig? Come on over. We're already recording. It's very loose.
Okay, cool.
How's it going, man?
You're right.
That's a pretty sweet jersey.
Yeah, man, I'm old school.
Are you a Ken Griffey fan?
Yeah, I'm one of 7 Seattle Mariner fans on the planet.
I used to have his
Hi, Carl.
1989
Hey, Carl.
Upper Deck card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was worth $35 at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you do with the card?
I probably sold it.
Really?
Yeah.
I got
love light
cards.
blue.
I got cards that I've been collecting from when I was a kid that I still have them, and I think like, oh, this is gonna be like this is what I'll buy a house with someday. But it's just like one shoebox full of cards.
Right.
Yeah. Can I curse? Is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
swear,
cool.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
We're fucking
That's
swearing all
I need
day.
to know right off the top is if I can curse. All right.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get a fucking Coke?
Yeah, we can get a,
Can I get a fucking Pepsi?
can he get a fucking Coke?
Please.
I'm just kidding.
What kind of beer do you want, Scott?
Do you guys have soda?
A what? Bud Light.
Bud Light.
One Bud Light and one Coke, please.
Yeah, put it
We're
on my
assuming they
tab.
work here.
Are you from Seattle?
No, I am from New York, but my comedy career started in Seattle 20 years ago. My radio career and my comedy career started in Seattle. I started doing radio with Bob Rivers, Twisted Radio, up in Seattle, and he taught me most of the basics I needed to know. Within 2 years of working with Bob, I started working for Howard, and I sent Howard a tape of all the voices I was doing on Bob Rivers' show.
Right.
And Gary Delabate called me the next day. I overnighted the tape. It had the station ID on it, or the station call letters, KISW, and I put a label on it, and the label said Satan. And then and it was a short note, hey, Gary, this tape will scare the shit out of you. And then the next day, Gary Delabate called me up and said,
Hey, Craig, it's Gary Delabate. Listen, I just got your tape. And so what the fuck is going on with this tape, man? Because it's fucking funny, man. It's fucking funny.
and
You
that started my...
horse-toothed jackass.
Yeah.
That's a...
I like doing Gary because he's got to laugh at.
He sounds like he's a fucking pedophile.
Yeah. So.
Do you believe he has a TV show now?
Yeah. He's got some kind of a geek show, right?
Yeah, like
Doesn't he?
I think they like appraise like junk or something
Yeah,
like
I
that. They
don't-
can tell people how much it's.
I know the time has come, and like Howard seems to really be serious about wanting to bail, so it's time to
Yeah, they gotta
start putting stuff
jumping
out there.
Ship.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that I've had as much time like building something outside of Howard as I have, because it does take time. Like having a tie to the Howard Stern show can really help you and really hurt you, because there's a lot of radio people that when you try to go around the country and get on the air and say, hey, I want to come in, and like, well, you're the Howard Stern. I'm not going to have you on, not the Howard Stern guy.
Well, that's how I was familiar with you. I remember when he was on terrestrial radio. I remember you doing the impressions and.
Yeah, I spent I started working for him in '95, but I really, they started letting me be myself in 2001 when Jackie the Joke Man quit the show.
Yeah, were you up for that position? Because I know they had a bunch of guys sitting in.
Yeah, they asked me to come in and audition for the job for 2 days, and the 2-day audition turned into 2 days a week every week for like 10 months.
So it was like you, Fitzsimmons, Chappelle.
Fitzsimmons, Chappelle, Richard Jenny, Adam Carolla, Jim Florentine.
Richard Jenny.
Yeah, Richard Jenny came in, Stanhope. But in the end, it ended up being just me and Artie. I would come in 2 days a week. Artie would come in 2 days a week. Then they'd rotate somebody else out on the 5th day.
Were you friends with Artie prior?
It's really funny. We have a mutual friend, this guy Kamal from the Jerky Boys.
Yes.
And Kamal was friends with both
Jerky
of us.
Boys. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember that
And
movie.
and I remember he goes, Kamal's like, hey, I got this friend. His name's Artie. He really wants to meet you. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I met him. And you killed Uncle Freddie. Yeah. the first time I met him, we had K-Rock was doing a movie screening for Joe Dirt. And I was like, hey, you want to go to this movie screening? Like, yeah, sure. And we go to the movie screening. And Artie, when he sat down, he pulled like a couple of tall boys out of his jacket. He had snuck in like beers.
Oh,
into
that's
the
great.
Movie screening.
That's a great scumbag move. I would have done the same
It was
thing.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And then there was like a touching moment in the movie. I can't remember. It was something about Joe Dirt and his parents. I can't remember what it was. It was like, hey, my parents died. And people were like, oh, like people were really affected in the theater. I remember Artie laughing like Cape Fear style, like ah, ha, 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 ah, yeah. Artie's always been awesome to me. Even to this day, Artie's got his own show now on Fox Sports Network, and Artie has me. I was just on with him 2 weeks ago, and he's sharper and funnier than he's ever been. He's on the money. Yeah, and he's a great host. Like I always think of him as a great side guy. Because he just loves to just talk shit, and he loves to just be a sniper on the side. But he actually is a great host. He really does move his show really well.
I have a million connections to Artie, and like my career right now is kind of going parallel to his, with me getting fired for DUI and having problems with that and
drugs.
No, Chad doesn't do any drugs.
No?
Surprisingly,
Never.
I do drugs, but he
What kind of drugs do you do?
That's a guy.
Mostly weed, coke, coke here or there when I'm feeling fat.
But does coke do it for you? Like, do you like coke a lot, or?
No, I mean here and there.
I loved coke. I had to stop doing everything because of coke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What like when did you stop doing drugs or cocaine?
When did I stop?
I don't even know if you stopped. I
stopped. I had a heart attack.
Oh, you had a heart attack?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I had a heart
That's a
attack
good
about
reason.
10 years ago, and so that scared me straight. Well, that scared me straight for a year and 2 weeks, and I was dating this girl, this really bad girl who was begging me to do coke with her.
Yeah.
And she's like, just do it in moderation like I do. And I was like, don't you understand? I can't. Like, that's not in my personality. And then I finally said, you know what? Fuck it. And I
Cold
fell
turkey?
Off.
Or did you got to go to some therapy place?
No, I was scared because I thought I was going to die. I had the heart attack. And then I was scared straight for a year and 2 weeks. And then on New Year's Eve, I went out and just went crazy. And I couldn't get back on. I just went fucking nuts for 11 and a half months. Until the 2-year anniversary of my heart attack, and I was just having a really
Do you celebrate that?
What, the heart attack?
2-year anniversary.
Well, now it's the day
now
it's the day that I quit. So now it's like it just happens to be the day that I quit. But I'm more thankful for knowing that it's 8 years now, and then I'll go, wow, that means it's 10 years since my heart attack.
Were you talking like Tony Montana when you do coke?
No, I just wanted to be alone. I just but that is kind of funny. The idea is like do some coke and your impressions get better.
Oh boy, this is cut with something small. I love it. Hoo-ah.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Pacino? Your Pacino's spot on. It's
No,
amazing.
I had a phone call from
Ramon Rivas is joining us, by the way.
Hey man, what's going on, brother?
Yeah,
How much? How you doing?
Comedian, right?
Yes. Yes. Sir.
I got a phone call from Vivendi Entertainment a couple years ago. I think it was like 8 years ago. Hey, Craig, we want you to do the voice of. Would you be interested in doing the voice of Scarface for this video game Scarface? And I called him up. Hey man, it's Craig Gass. I got your message. So what's up? And he goes, well, we're still in the development stage of the game, but we're having a lot of creative meetings. But Al recommended that we go to you because voice wise, we're looking for the right voice actor. And I go, that's cool. So what's Al? Who's Al? What does Al do? And he goes, Al's
Pacino.
Al Pacino. And I go,
Ooh, artist recommended.
Al Pacino knows who I am? And
That's
and he
crazy.
goes, Craig, you know what? I really want to get that excited about it. The way your name came up was he said,
My voice has changed too much since I made that movie. So we got to get a guy. What's his name? He's a comedian, David Grass. He's got a mole on his face. Find him.
yeah.
Nice.
I was like, well, that's not the story I'm going to tell people. So, yeah.
Well, his voice did change from like Dog Day Afternoon. It was like a real high pitched, and then it's somewhere.
Queens?
When did it like make that
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I can't even do it because anytime I think of Al, I always think
of this old broken man.
Do you ever tell you that fucking story about? I just met you a week ago. Have I ever told you the story? I mean,
yeah. Like on Tuesday, the one.
There's a fucking insane story that I did a TV show called Las Vegas. My partner on the show is Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, he's your partner in the show.
Yeah, we Alec and I ended up robbing the casino.
Oh, wow.
We robbed the casino together, and
when was this?
fucking this is
Sounds like a CBS.
Yeah, NBC
Oh,
show.
damn it.
It's like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
No. Wait a minute. This is 2004 because there was some weird shit that was going on at that time. I was living in a house that was crazy. So Alec Baldwin every day is trying to get me to do impressions for him, right? And then I get him to do impressions for my friends.
You get Alec Baldwin to do impressions.
Alec Baldwin does fucking phenomenal impressions. Phenomenal.
Really?
Like he does an impression of Tony Bennett that is mind-blowing. Like, he'd come up to me and he'd go, "Can I hear some more of your Al Pacino? Let me hear some more of your Al Pacino. I love your Al Pacino." I go, "Yes, but real quick. This is my friend. Do your Tony Bennett for my friend, please." And he would grab like an empty martini glass. And it's like one of those impressions you go, "What the fuck does Tony Bennett sound like?" He grabs a empty martini glass and goes, "Yeah, I'll tell you what. I used to date Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is a real foxy lady. I once made love to Marilyn for up to 12 hours until the paramedics came along and said, 'Tony, she's gone.'" It was like, yeah, it's weird. It was weird out there. And so he tells me, I gotta give you this script. I have to give you this script, and I got to tell you this story because I almost got in a fight with Al Pacino. And he keeps telling me this over and over, and he finally tells me, and he gets me this script. Alec Baldwin was in a play about Al Pacino's life. It opened on September 11th, 2001. That was opening day. They only ended up doing 2 performances. It was supposed to be a 3-week run.
That's a bad omen right there.
Yeah. They ended up doing 2 performances. They never do it again. But the play was written by a former best friend of Al Pacino's. Former. And that guy wrote a bunch of personal information about Al's life that Al didn't want anybody to know about. So Baldwin says that everywhere he goes, he keeps hearing people going, "Hey, by the way, I just saw Al Pacino. He said the next time he sees you, he's going to beat your ass. What's going on there? Is he's like mad? He like physically wants to hurt you." And he keeps hearing all these stories. So Baldwin says, so one day I'm in my apartment building. The elevator door opens. Who's in the elevator? It's Al Pacino, Beverly D'Angelo, and a real estate broker. They're looking for an apartment in my building.
Well, they were married, right?
Al Pacino and Beverly D'Angelo were hooking up
together for like 20
Now
years.
that they went through like an ugly divorce.
Okay.
And they had kids. They actually have twins.
Oh,
Al
wow.
Pacino has twins. So
I
Baldwin
wonder if
says,
they took him to Wally World.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So Baldwin says, as soon as the elevator door opens up, Al Pacino looks him right in the eye and goes,
"Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go."
and Beverly D'Angelo, completely clueless, gets off the elevator and goes, "Alec! Oh my God, look who it is! It's Alec! We were just talking about you. You're so political. You should run for office. You could be a president or something. Weren't we saying that, Al? Weren't we saying that?" And he said the whole time Pacino's eyeballing him going,
Yeah, this guy just does anything you fucking want, don't you? You do anything you want.
Beverly D'Angelo, completely clueless, goes walking down the hallway with the real estate broker in tow, and Pacino eyeballs him as he walks past him. And Baldwin grabs his arm and he goes, "Al, can I talk to you for 1 second?" He goes,
What, you got something you want to say to me? The fuck you got to say to me, Alec?
and he goes, "Listen, I know you know about the play." And he goes,
Play. You were in a play. Tell me about your little fucking play, Alec. I'm dying to hear about your stupid fucking play.
and he goes, "Listen, I know you know about the play. I just want to tell you a few things. Number 1, I was only going to do the show for 3 weeks. Secondly, I only agreed to do the show in New York, not in your backyard. And thirdly, and this is the truth, I've never had more fun in my life than I did playing you. And that's the truth." And he said, Pacino looked at him and said,
Alec, how in the fuck can you have fun being me? Because I'm fucking miserable. I am fucking miserable.
Is that not a brutal story?
Oh
my God.
Great.
I don't think I've let anyone else talk in like 20 minutes since I walked up here. So yeah.
Oh, no,
Sorry,
that's-
forgive me. Sorry.
We're all
And I was like,
mesmerized.
the
We're
fuck?
like-
Who is this
It's
guy?
really
Number
Pacino.
one. Where you haven't even introduced everybody on this show. Number
Oh, that's
two.
all right.
Sorry,
No,
man.
I see these guys all the time.
Yeah.
You're more interesting than anyone.
Yeah,
I don't have
maybe
an
you are.
Alec Baldwin story or Al Pacino story.
Yeah, I need to be just given directions. So just tell me when
No,
to shut
this
up.
is
Are you?
Heard you dropped in. I run an open mic on Monday nights. I heard you came in on Monday.
ding.
Yes, I came out there on Monday night, and I was looking to meet comedians, and I was also looking for a room. I
So
wanted
you
to
didn't
find
meet
a room.
anybody, did you? Hacker.
No, actually, you know what? It was not only did
Why
I
is
meet,
Craig Gass in Cleveland? That's what I want to know.
not only did I meet a bunch of comedians, I met a bunch of comedians who know all my friends. Like I saw Jim Florentine last night at a concert, and I was like, dude, every other comedian I met in Cleveland was like, I know Jim Florentine, I'm friends with him. Like, you totally ask him, I'm totally friends with him. And it's like, but it was like every other comedian. Like, Florentine's been up here enough times that Florentine has made his dent
Yeah.
up here.
Well, he hangs
you know?
out with Chad and
Yeah.
Joe Howard a lot.
Well, there you go.
Joe
I should have
Howard's
known
like
the guy
best
wearing the
friend.
Iron Maiden denim jacket was a
Yeah.
friend of Jim Florentine. Yeah, I think it should have been more obvious to me, but that was a great room, that open mic, great space, and I was like, oh, I wonder if we could do something here on the weekend, and so I could just because I'll go on the air, I'll do a bunch of radio and TV appearances. I just wanted to slap something together. I haven't been to Cleveland in over 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just wanted to just do something where I could reconnect with the local media, push this DVD. I just put out a DVD.
What's your DVD?
The DVD is this idea that is like all my comedian friends, whenever they film a comedy show, they always want to film their shows in a really nice theater with a really nice production. They want to try to look as good as possible. I wanted to film my show in a shithole.
Oh.
I filmed it in a dump, and it's called The Worst Comedy Show Ever. And it's
It's kind of like what Dice did with.
yeah, when he did The Day the Laughter Died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm not a big Dice fan, but I know that he did a show where he bombed and he released the show of him bombing. The idea for me was just like I wanted to film a show where comedians tend to hide their shows and glorify that. And there's actually some funny cameos from some of the guys from Alice in Chains. Some of the guys from Pearl Jam make funny cameos.
Were they at the show?
Yeah, Mike McCready was at the show. And then I have a news team that I assembled for the audio tracks. It's a CD DVD package, and I have a news team that in between the comedy tracks we just do breaking news stories, and it's just tonight after the show a breaking news story. Where
Wayne Stanley's dead.
yeah, well, no, it's something like explosive new story that George Bush knew about September 11th 2 days after the attacks, or stupid shit like that.
Right.
And Jerry Cantrell and Sean Kinney are like part of my news team on the audio track. So,
My favorite group.
It's not Stone Gossard.
Do you open for a lot of rock groups? As a
yeah,
touring?
I would always volunteer to do that. When I first started doing stand-up, the first 5 years I was doing stand-up, I moved to Seattle, and I would volunteer to. I'm from New York.
Okay.
But when I was living in Seattle and I was doing stand-up comedy, I would go to open like poetry open mics, musician open mics. I would go to like if I was really hurting for stage time, I'd go to like nightclubs. There's a big music scene that was like exploding in Seattle, and I would say, "Hey, do you mind if I do some stand-up comedy?"
Was
And I
that
would-
during the grunge era? Like
Yeah,
when
it was 1993.
Soundgarden, Screaming
Yeah.
Trees.
Yeah, all those bands were like pouring over, and bands from all over the world were moving to Seattle so that they could be seen in Seattle, and I was volunteering to open up for those bands, and
Those fucking music gigs are the worst.
yeah, they really are, and
Yeah.
they really, and even though I still fight for them from time to time, like 8 years ago, I campaigned and got to open for Metallica. I was the first comedian to ever open for Metallica, and then I realized like I don't even want to watch a comedian open for Metallica. So,
Yeah.
Right.
you know?
Florentine
listen
does
to
that a lot
music.
too, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
and then
Jim tells me horror stories about that.
me, Jim Florentine, Big J Okerson are the three guys who. Oh, Don Jameson. We are the guys who always commiserate over our pain of it's kind of like I think part of us just wants to be liked by our favorite bands, but then you go up and you realize like shit, like I don't even know if I give a shit about this about doing stand-up
Well,
comedy.
it's such a different mojo for music. You can just listen to the show and talk to your friends, and when there's the music stop, you just clap your hands. You don't have to really pay attention to it.
Right. It's a totally different mentality. I got offered a tour with Alice in Chains like 6 years ago. And the reason I took it is because it was acoustic show. Like it was billed as an acoustic evening with Alice in Chains. So it was already a mellow night, and I love the idea of doing stand-up comedy with a crowd that was like there to sit and listen.
Yeah, they're sitting.
Yeah. So that kind of, I probably would have taken it anyway because the idea of actually being able to travel with a band and that was really cool.
Have you ever had the opportunity to open for Kiss?
I did.
Yeah.
I've been making fun of Kiss.
I want to know,
10 years.
like Gene Simmons, like is he a fan? He has to be a fan by now.
Well, there's a track on this new DVD CD that I put out called "I Think Gene Simmons Is Going to Kill Me." That's the name of the track.
Right.
And by the way, everything is at getgas.com. Getgas with 2 S's.com. Gene Simmons was I started when I was auditioning to be the sidekick on the Stern Show. I was just...
That's how I knew you, was the Gene Simmons. And I remember I'll let you tell the story.
Well,
You're better at telling your own story than I am.
Well, I would just hide behind voices because I didn't want it, because they literally fired Jackie the Joke Man, and then they asked me to come in the next day. And I didn't feel comfortable under the premise of like, all right, listen, Mom's dead, okay? But here's my new girlfriend. Like, I just thought, oh, your audience is going to fucking kill me. So I just kept chiming in as more and more celebrities, and the idea was... I'll keep chiming in as more and more celebrities until the audience finally goes, all right, who the fuck is that guy doing all the voices back there? So I would chime in whatever.
Howard loved it, though.
Oh, yeah, he was great with it. And then, like, just be as inappropriate as possible. Like, have Christopher Walken chime in and say something, like, racist or something. Like
a bunch of non sequiturs.
It's great. That reminds me of a great joke. What do you call a fat Chinese guy? A chunk. Pow! That's a great joke. I don't care who you are.
But and then people at home would be like, man, Christopher Walken's fucking racist, man. Fuck. And but I had this impression of Gene Simmons. It wasn't a funny impression, but it sounded like Gene Simmons. And what I would do is, what made it funny is every time we had a music guest in the studio, I would constantly interrupt them as Gene Simmons and try to sell them shitty Kiss products.
How about a Kiss coffin?
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing is I would fuck with people, and it didn't matter who they were. Like, we had the Insane Clown Posse, and I'd go,
Can I just point out, because I fucked Paul Stanley, you're a band, okay? That's what happened.
And I would do it to Coldplay, Jay-Z, the Beatles.
You did it to Jay-Z?
Anyone. It was like Paul McCartney.
Let me just stop you right there. By the way, this is Gene Simmons from Kiss. And if you go to kissonline.com, you will see how the Beatles stole everything from Kiss.
And people would just stare, like Paul McCartney would stare at a guy like me and go, who the fuck are you? And I go,
I'll tell you who I am. How many members were in the Beatles? 4, right? Right. How many members were in Kiss? 4. Thank you. Go to kissonline.com.
It didn't make any sense. I was just a dick. I was just an asshole to people.
To a Beatle.
And here's the crazy thing. And we had no idea that this was happening. The real Gene Simmons started getting hate mail. And people started yelling at Gene Simmons on the streets and cursing at him. They're like, why are you such a dick to Paul McCartney? And he'd go,
what did I say to Paul McCartney? Did I say something?
Or all the weird, like, sexual shit, I would say. People would go like, why do you want to finger fuck Fabio? He's a nice man, you know. And so he found out. Someone said, hey, there's a comedian. His name's Greg Gass. He does an impression of you, and he's an asshole to people. And Gene got on a plane, flew to New York, and confronted me live on the air about my impression.
I remember hearing that episode, actually. Was he a good sport about it? Was he annoyed?
Well, he came...
Did you stay in Gene Simmons in the argument?
At first he showed up, and we were like, I didn't know what to do, and I was scared. And he came in, and he confronted me, and he said,
first of all, you don't sound anything like me at all, okay? That's number 1. And number 2, I didn't come here to talk about people who think they're funny. I came here to talk about something very serious and something that's never been done before in rock and roll. If you go to kissonline.com,
and I was like, what the fuck? And he started selling us a Kiss casket. And we all started laughing because we thought he was joking. At one point, Howard said, hold on. He goes, okay, the casket, you're making a joke, right, about the casket? And he goes,
joke? What am I? No, it's a real, look, it's $5,000. Beautiful Kiss logo on the side of the casket, and guess what? Not only can you be buried in it, It doubles as an ice cooler. And I kept
I
kept jumping in the middle of a sales pitch going, you know what else has never been done before in rock and roll? For $1 million, I will throw my guitar player, Ace Frehley, into the casket. And you can spend eternity spooning with Kiss. And Gene kept looking at me going, no, you be quiet. No, you be quiet. Shut up, shut up. No, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And everyone at home was like, who the fuck is talking? Like nobody knew what was going on. The next day, Gary Delabate comes in and says,
Hey, guys, you're not going to believe this. I just got off the phone with the KISS headquarters.
Which, by the way, that sentence should have been,
Hey, guys, you're not going to believe this. There's a fucking KISS headquarters.
like that should have been the thought right there.
And he comes and goes, hey, you're not going to believe this. I just got off the phone with the KISS headquarters. And I apparently Gene Simmons wants to come back in a month, and he has a request. He doesn't want to be here when you're here, so he wants to make sure you're gone.
So, because I was only on Howard's show 2 days a week, and they said, Gene wants to come in on a day you're not here, and I thought, like, first of all, that's awesome that he knows who I am. And then I just thought, like, how funny would it be if I showed up anyway?
He's a maniac.
Well, I ended up, we were, like, talking about it, and I go, what if I showed up anyway and dressed up in full Gene Simmons makeup and a full Gene Simmons costume and say, I'm the real
Spit
Gene
blood
Simmons.
on him.
And in the middle of his interview, and this became another episode of E! Entertainment Television's Howard Stern show with Gene Simmons. Gene showed up, and in the middle of his interview, I crashed the interview dressed as Gene Simmons, and I said,
I'm the real Gene Simmons, and you're an imposter, and I can prove it, because I got a bunch of cheap shit I want to sell you.
and I had a bag full of shit that we had written KISS logos on. I had a fucking...
You just wrote Kiss.
Kiss toothbrush.
New Kids on the Block lunchbox, and I took a marker out and wrote KISS.
That's $50 right there.
Yeah. And so everyone who works with KISS comes out of the woodwork to tell me stories. Anybody who has anything. I did a heavy metal awards show last week in L.A. Sebastian Bach, huge Howard Stern fan, huge KISS fan.
Yeah, I met Sebastian.
And I go, Sebastian, I go, have you ever like hung out with Gene Simmons? He goes, dude, that fucking guy, I went to his fucking house and he had a fucking bag with like 100 fucking KISS cell phone covers. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is that? And Gene apparently goes,
As a family of four sits over there.
and apparently Gene goes,
Fire the hostess.
That's a new promotion for Kissmas. We have our new KISS
They have
cell phone
Kissmas.
covers.
and he goes, dude, how much you selling these for? And he goes,
They're $17.95. It's a promotion for Kissmas.
and he goes, dude, I want one of these right now. And he goes,
Sebastian, I can't take your money. Go to kissonline.com.
and he goes, you got 100 of them right here. And he goes,
I'm sorry, you can't. Go to kissonline.com. You can buy as many as you want.
he wouldn't give him a piece of plastic right there.
How long did you have to do the Stern show before you felt comfortable enough to just do you?
Yeah, when did Craig Gass come out?
Well, that's funny because there was a point where I would chime in and go, oh, you know what the story with that is? That the reason that, and he'd go, wait a minute, what voice is that? And I go, I'm just, like he started busting my balls. Like I remember the first day I was on the show, he called me up that day. He gave me a really great phone call where he said, today was the best radio I've done in 15 years.
What Stern tells you this?
Howard said that to me, and he said, here's what we're going to do. On Monday, I want you back on the show, and I'm gonna just say, hey, that was Craig Gass, and I'll tell a little bit about you. And I go, you know what? I don't feel really comfortable with that because your audience is really brutal. I think I should just stay in the background as many voices as possible until the audience finally starts to go, who the fuck is that guy?
How long did that take?
And well, it ended up sealing my fate. Because every time I would try to talk in my own voice, then Howard would be like, what voice is that? And I go, hey, and he goes, just talk as Gene Simmons. And then it was like, so that became the running gag for a while. So,
Did you meet Paul Stanley? Because I know you do a Paul Stanley too.
well, Gene started getting me, then this weird relationship started with Gene. And I went to
I do a Peter Criss.
I went to a KISS concert, and Gene got me and a couple comedians into the concert for free. Got us all free tickets, all of us backstage passes, like VIP passes. I went back to thank him after the show, and I walked past Paul Stanley, who was standing backstage without his shirt on, like his
hair's popping
chest
out.
hair was all over the place.
I saw Kiss this summer. He's still in amazing shape.
He's in great shape.
Yeah.
I see him, and I just nervously keep walking, and it's just me and him in the hallway. I get 10 steps past Paul Stanley, and I hear, Craig Gass. And I go,
the lisp.
Hey, Paul, what's going on? He goes, how come you don't do an impression of me? And I go, I do one, but I don't think you want to hear it. And he goes, come here. And he's waving at me with his little index finger. Come here, funny boy. And I'm walking towards Paul Stanley while I'm editing every gay joke I've ever done about him. I'm like, what? Like, I know he's not gay, but I'm always like, he's just so effeminate.
Flamboyant.
Very flamboyant. And then I end up doing some dumb, well, he's got two voices off stage where, he's always saying crazy stuff like you'll always end up with a star in your crotch. And then there's there's on stage where he's like, I actually heard him say this in Las Vegas. All right, people, now listen. I know that this town is known for its buffets. And I can tell you right now that after this show, I see a lot of people in the front row that I really want to eat. Off in his hair. Yeah.
Star in your crotch, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was that? I saw the Jean Simmons roast, and you were on there and you roasted Jean.
Yes.
But what was you remember the story, like the actual quote Paul said about Kiss? You say it on the roast about.
Oh yeah, there's an interview where
it's like steak and ice cream or something.
Yeah, their interviews are so. As an insecure kid growing up, when you see people that are that arrogant and that confident, it's like, wow, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing an interview with Kiss in Japan. It's like a press conference, and they're just sitting there, and the press is just blowing them. And at one point, somebody says, this is the question. Why is Kiss so amazing? That was the question to Kiss. Why is Kiss so amazing?
That's like that Chris Farley interview. Like, why are you so awesome?
And Paul Stanley's response is, a lot of bands are envious of Kiss. I'm envious of Kiss. It's like, what? Like, there was
bigger than me.
There was a Rock Against Drugs 30-minute infomercial back in the day that featured a couple segments of Paul Stanley, where Paul Stanley's in a bed with not one or two, 12 hot women in lingerie are in a bed with Paul Stanley. And Paul actually says to the camera, if anybody remembers, Paul actually says, if you're a girl and you have an opportunity to be with me, why would you want to ruin such a bombastic moment with drugs or alcohol? Bombastic, yeah. But the interview and the Gene quote is,
the great thing about being in Kiss is some people like steak and some people like ice cream. But you don't have steak with ice cream, and that's why Kiss is so great.
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. He's and there's a million stories. Like, people come out of the woodwork like
they probably tell you every one of them.
Everyone, dude, and the stories people tell me are so fucking horrifying. They'll go, "Hey, maybe you can use this on stage." And the stories are like, there's a guy I know who said, I've been working with Kiss for about 15 years now, right? A few years ago, and this is according to this guy. I don't know if this is true or not. He said a few years ago, Gene fucked Miss America while we were on tour.
The current Miss America, or like
the reigning? That's what makes it amazing.
Okay.
The reigning Miss America of that year. Gene fucked her. The next night, Gene hooks up with a whore. Just a groupie that is such a mess that even the guys in the road crew are like, Jesus. Like, nobody wants to touch her.
Right.
Gene bangs her. Then the next night, they have a day off in a town that's so small that the band and the road crew have to stay in the same hotel.
Right.
Typically, Kiss will stay in a Four Seasons, and the road crew will stay at a Hilton. But this town is so small, everybody's in the same hotel. And the guy tells me from his point of view, he's in the bar, and he said, I just happened to look over in the lobby as Gene is dragging this enormous girl through the lobby. Gets in the elevator, turns around,
slump buster,
pushes a button, and looks at me through the lobby as I'm sitting in the bar as the elevator doors close, and he goes, oh yeah, bing, and then the doors close.
Oh yeah.
The next day at sound check, he sees Gene, and he goes, Gene, did you fuck that girl last night? And Gene goes,
Of course. And he goes, Gene, didn't you fuck Miss America the other night? He goes, Steve, listen to me, okay? You can't have filet mignon every night. Sometimes you gotta go to McDonald's. Is that the greatest?
He's always comparing stuff to food.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of my first concerts I ever went to was Kiss Animalized without makeup.
I saw that tour with
And,
Queensryche
Yeah,
opening up.
Queensryche, yep.
Nice.
And I saw them without makeup, and Jean Simmons looked so bad without makeup. I was like, just leave the makeup on, man. He is so ugly.
Yeah, but you know what? As far as like rock stars go, I mean, Keith Richards and Mick
Yeah.
Jagger, like
Everyone's
there's
ugly from
no
the 60s.
Real, like,
I've noticed all rock stars tend to be real tiny. Like I go to the Rock Hall a lot, and like all their stage wear is like extremely like petite human beings. Like,
that's true. I do get self-conscious when I see those outfits. Like I get like, man.
Yeah, because you look at them, they're larger than life.
Yeah.
Like
But
I got
Prince is like 4 foot.
Oh, well,
You know,
Prince,
he's
yeah.
tiny.
But like Aerosmith and those guys are like 5'2".
like we had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony in Cleveland last year, and I went with Jim Florentine. We snuck backstage. And it was the year Guns N' Roses was inducted, the Beastie Boys, the Chili Peppers, and I'm a big Beasties guy. Like I love the Beastie Boys.
Me too, man.
And they come walking in like Ad Rock, Mike Diamond, and they're all my size. They're like 5'8". I'm just like. It was like the most disappointing thing ever. I was like, you guys are my idols. I thought you guys were monsters. And
yeah, that's what a great rock hall that was, man. That it was so amazing to look back at what was being read and realizing that was the last speech that was being written by MCA.
Right.
You know? That was really powerful.
And I guess they were even fooled up to the end. They thought he was just sick. They didn't think they thought he was still going to pull through.
Really?
They had no idea that that he was going to pass.
I saw that last Beastie Boy video, and he looked like he was like 80 pounds.
Really?
But it's funny though. Like you have all these guys. You got like John Cougar Mellencamp. Is he Cougar anymore or John Mel? Who cares?
John Mellencamp.
John
sure,
Mellencamp.
Yeah, and it's a parade of guys, and then Slash walks in. Everybody there turns their head when Slash walks in. I'm talking all the guys from Green Day. Meanwhile, everyone's just hanging out until Slash walks by. That guy's just the epitome of rock star.
Yeah, he really is, man.
He has an aura.
Yeah, he's. There's very few guys that really have that, you know. And is there any like comedy equivalent to that? Like, there's guys that walk in, but everybody's so opinionated about stand-up comedy that it's like, you know.
Maybe Chappelle.
Sure, yeah, Chappelle's universally can walk in, and Chris Rock.
Chris Rock,
Probably.
you know what? You're right, Chris Rock. But like, I never cared about Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, I get
Brian
it.
Regan among comedians.
Oh
Brian
yeah,
Regan.
Brian Regan. I got booked for this weird gig at a mall.
Was it at the Redstone?
It was at this mall in
o'clock.
Washington State, in this small town, right in the middle of like the Tri-Cities, Washington State. But they're offering me a lot of money to do this appearance, and the same week that they're offering to book me, because I always like to look to see what's going on in that town. Like, well, will I have fun?
Yeah.
Like I
Like is
came
there
up-
an Indians game or
Right,
something?
right. Like I came here to Cleveland because my team was playing here in Cleveland. Some friends of mine were performing in Columbus. And it was like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff going on, and then I'll get on the air and I'll promote the thing and whatever, and I'll figure out a place to perform. And I don't even care if it has to be at a karaoke bar. I'll perform somewhere, and I'll get a crowd to show up. And so I find out I'm performing. You know, they want me to perform in this 1 week in the middle of Washington State, and there's a gig the night before that Brian Regan is performing at the arena at the Toyota Center in Kennewick. He's actually doing 2 shows in an arena. Brian Regan is going to perform in an arena
In one night?
a 3 p.m. and an 8 p.m. show.
Wow, that's some Bill Cosby shit.
And so a friend of mine's opening up for him, so I contact my buddy Kermit, and I say, hey, I'm going to come down. Kermit gets me tickets, and he goes, yeah, I'll introduce you to Brian. And I go, hey, Brian, we're talking, I'm shooting the shit. And we start talking about how addicted we are to stage time. Like, and I go, you know, it's funny because even like on my nights off, I'll go find a place to perform, and I'll go to an open mic. And he goes, yeah, me too. He goes, we're going to it was this tiny little shitty place. He goes, Jack, what is it called? Jack Diddley's? And I go, Jack Diddley's, the comedy club? He goes, yeah, we're going there tonight. And I started laughing. He goes, no, really, we're going. We're like, he goes, because we get done here at 9:30 and they have a 10:30 show. And we're taking the bus over there. He performed to 2 full houses in an arena and still got on a bus on a tour bus.
Wow.
And went to a comedy club that had 50 people in it and said, do you mind if I do some time? And did a set in front of like maybe 50, 100 people.
That's awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
Totally committed.
We're all addicted. I remember a couple months ago being at the Comedy Store. Chris Rock walked in at like 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I actually heard he's been popping up a lot. I think he's preparing for a new hour or something.
Well, he showed up at 1:30 in the morning. It was like, I think a Tuesday or Wednesday. And there was a couple of us standing outside that back entrance there. And Chris Rock walked by and he goes, how's it going? And we go, it's like 6 people. And he goes, is it a good 6? Like,
right.
And that's like, I totally get that. Like, because if they're drunk and they're like tired, then but are they listening? Because if they're listening, I want to try and see if I can do something.
He's been quoted by saying, he goes, I might not be the funniest comic, but I'll outwork you any day of the week.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I've always been fascinated by his story because he really was, and he has said that he was on his way out, that he used all his time at Saturday Night Live to just party, and he really enjoyed the status that came with being
he bought a car,
a cast member at Saturday Night Live, getting to movie premieres, stuff like that, and just didn't put much effort into being a cast member at Saturday Night Live. And then he just realized this whole thing is about to end if I don't do something. And he started working on Bring the Pain. And he said, it was like 18 months. I didn't even want to talk to you if you weren't a comedian.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even want to I didn't want to even talk about anything but comedy. And he created Bring the Pain, which was fucking
classic,
brilliant, absolutely classic. Yeah, timeless.
You know what it is like you're gonna go through life doing like radio. You've done a million things, but stand-up's always the vehicle to take you. You're driving that vehicle, and that's always something to fall back on.
Well, that's the love.
You don't need anybody else. Like you can just go do it. A poetry open mic, a music open mic, anywhere with a microphone.
Yeah, and it's that love for, you try to figure out how to do everything else. Try to figure out how to do radio and how to do podcasts, how to do anything that's going to drive you to continue to be a stand-up comedian.
Like your voice work, your acting work, but you're always going to be a comic no matter what.
Absolutely. Acting, any acting role I've gotten, it's like I want to keep getting more and more dramatic acting roles so I can keep coming back to stand-up comedy so I can just, show different sides of myself. But yeah, comedy is it. I'm addicted to it. I'm in love. I've been in love with stand-up comedy for over 20 years, and I get into every town 5-6 days early, and I do open mics every night. Unless I have to be up really super early, but I'm usually at open mics every night. I like meeting comics. I especially love meeting comics at open mics because there's a more of a like, man, I just want to be on stage kind of vibe there, and a lot of comics who do it for a long time lose that,
right,
and get dark and weird. And
what are your favorite cities to do comedy in?
New York is just a great comedy city.
Where's home for you, by the way?
Well, home is now L.A., unfortunately, and it's because that's where all my work is that I've been doing, has been out in L.A., but I grew up in New York, outside the Bronx, and stand-up comedy in New York is just it's just a great energy, and there's a lot of great comics in New York. It's a better comedy city than L.A. is.
Yeah, I lived in L.A. It's awful. I remember I'd have to leave at 4 to do an open mic at the Ha Cafe, and then I'd drive to Pasadena to do a spot. Then I got to go all the way back to the Melrose.
Dude, the Ha Cafe is where this guy from this record label that put out this thing I just put out, the worst comedy show ever. I'm explaining to this guy like, I do want to do an album, but I have a concept, and the concept is performing in a shithole. And doing, in a bad room, like most comedians try to look as good as possible. I want to look as bad as possible and see if I can just make fun of that. And
grow the beard out.
And I'm telling them, what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. Meet me. There's an open mic at the Ha at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And I go, can you meet me over there? And I'll show you what I mean because they'll probably be like dead over there. We go to the Ha. They try to make me pay $5 to perform.
You have to buy a drink, or something.
And I go, man,
for 5 minutes.
I go, I already talked to the owner. This is the guy from the record label. I just want to do a quick set and to show him. So then I go up and do what I want to show him, which is basically like, this is where comedy is born. Comedy's not born on a theater stage in front of 3,000 people. Comedy's born in a strip mall that's kind of rapey. Like, this is where comedy's born.
Kind of rapey.
And I said something about,
Rapey.
like, I called my agent and said...
There needs to be a tanning salon next door and a checks cashed on the other side.
That I had called my agent and said, I want you to book me in a rape room or something like that.
A rapey room.
And the owner of the Ha Ha came running out and said, "Get the fuck off my stage!" And I go, what? And he goes, "Get the fuck!" And I go, I think his name's Jack.
Yeah.
And I go, there's like a million pictures of him when you walk in, of him with Eddie Murphy and him with
like
guys.
Robert Townsend.
Yeah. And I go, hey man, I'm gonna pull this around. I'm starting out. And he goes, "No, we don't rape people here." And I was like, I go, "That's not what I said. I didn't say you." And he goes, "Get the fuck right now!" And he came up to the stage like he wanted to punch me. And then I go, "All right." And I put the mic down. And he walked me outside. And he kept like clenching his fists like. And a couple of his security people were coming out, following me. And he wanted to hit me. And the guy from the record label was like, "Okay, he's in on it, right?" And I go, "No, not only is he not in on it, we got to get the fuck out of here." And he signed me on the spot. He said, "He goes, I know what you're trying to do. I get it, and whatever, let's do it." And we were at a Starbucks like 5 miles away from the club, and he kept thinking like, I'm still waiting for the guy from the club to pull up and laugh at me. And I go, "No, that guy's not going to pull up here and laugh. That guy really does want to kill me."
Oh, that is a great story.
Yeah.
Blacklisted.
At Craig Glass, what is it? Craig Gass on comedy on Twitter?
At Craig Gass Comedy. Craig Gass, 2 S's Comedy.
But I know you got to get going before you go. How did you get the job on The Family Guy?
They discovered me on YouTube.
Really? YouTube?
Yeah. They this woman, Linda Lamontagne, called me up. "Craig, my name's Linda. I'm the casting director for Family Guy, American Dad, and Cleveland Show. Would you be interested in working on Family Guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "All right." She goes, "I know you're based out of New York. If you want, we can talk to you. We have a studio that we use in New York. We can talk to you on a ISDN line. But if you can be in LA, you'll actually be in the studio with Seth MacFarlane." And I was like, "Yeah, what?" And she goes, "All right." And I go, and I just said, yes. I agreed to everything.
Right.
The day before I flew out, I was talking to a friend of mine, and my friend goes, "How much are they paying you?" And I go, "I have no idea." Like I agreed to everything.
Yeah, that's how I am when I.
And
get
I go,
to, okay,
I called up. And I go, "Linda, hey, it's Craig Gass. I'm sorry, I just totally forgot about something." She goes, "Oh my God, are you going to be okay tomorrow?" And I go, No, I'll be there. No, I'm coming. But I didn't even ask you. How much am I getting paid for this? She goes, hold on. And I hear her going through some papers. She goes, Craig Gass. Craig, you're getting scale plus 10. And I go, "Okay, all right. So it's scale plus 10? She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "All right, scale plus 10. She goes, "Yeah. Do you have any questions?" I go, "Yeah, what's scale plus 10? I don't, I don't know what we're talking about." And she explained to me that scale was $780 plus 10%, which is $78. So it was $858. And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I would pay them to do it." And I go in a recording studio, and I'm there for 3 minutes. It's just me and Seth. He kept doing one line, and it's Peter Griffin. We kept saying, "This is crazy that when Al Pacino was a slumlord laundromat tenant." And they cut to me. It's Al Pacino in the middle of a bunch of broken down washers and dryers going,
"You're out of order. And you're out of order. And you're all out of order."
And I did that 3 times, and Seth goes, "All right, man, I think we're good." And for some reason, I thought we were going to be friends now. And I go, "All right, hey, so do you want to hang out at all?" And he goes, "Hang out? What do you mean?" And I go, "I don't know, you want to go to Starbucks or something?" And he goes, "No, I got to work." And I go, "All right, do you want me to leave?" And he goes, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here." And I go, "Oh, I'm sorry." I grabbed my script, and I just walked out.
You're trying to hang out with him?
I thought we were going to be friends. I was so fruity about it. You know?
How many times you been on?
Now it's been 5-6 times. Every episode, and I don't know if this is because of how weird I made Seth feel, but every episode I've worked on since then,
What episode you on?
That first episode was
for our listeners.
Episode called Quagmire's Baby.
Okay.
And then I've done American Dad, the Cleveland Show a few times, and I work with Mike Henry every time I work on those shows. Mike Henry's the guy who does the voice of Cleveland, and he also does the voice of the old creepy guy. And so it's usually Mike directing me. But now I'm wondering if maybe that had something to do with me creeping out.
Yeah, he's like, "I don't want this guy to keep asking me to hang out."
Yeah, he kept asking me to hang out.
That's a great story, Craig. But what was it like being on the Don Joseph Toyota commercial?
It was fantastic.
Do they always ask you to do like Pacino or something you already?
No, they call me and they'll say, "Hey, can you do whatever?" And I lie to them every time, and I go, I go, oh, that's my favorite.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You go back to your place, you're practicing.
That's
left and
like
right.
me and my friends. That's like we always do dueling Tom Arnold's. That's our thing. When do you need Tom Arnold by? I mean, when do you need? And they'll say, oh, can you just record something by next Friday and send us an MP3? And I go, oh, yeah, no problem. And I'll go and I'll watch like 2 or 3 Tom Arnold movies over and over and over again until I just get Tom Arnold just going, that's great. I love fat women and cocaine. And then record it and send it to them. And they'll go, oh, yeah, you're the guy. Wow, you are good. And I go, oh, yeah, well, that's my favorite. You know.
I think my new goal in comedy is to become the world's first Craig Gass impersonator. Just impersonate you.
What's something you're working on, like a voice you're working on? Do you do a lot of that?
I just did one last week. It was really stupid. I never really have a good answer for that, but last week I was performing in Boston, which was weird because the bombing had just happened, so I decided to I was performing at the Wilbur Theater, and I decided to just give all my money away to the city of Boston. We just gave everything away to charity, and they said, do you do any Boston impressions? Like Mark Wahlberg was in the news that day, and they said, hey, can you do Mark Wahlberg? I go, oh, yeah, I can do Mark Wahlberg. And I came back in the studio, and I just do, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is the worst fucking impression you'll ever hear in your life. But I do an exasperated Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
I just need something to be.
Well, there's a visual component, too. So.
Okay, I just need something to get exasperated about. So give me something to get exasperated
Like just
about.
anything?
Just something to get worked up about. Give me something to get exasperated about.
Traffic.
Okay, traffic?
Yeah.
And then what about traffic?
Road construction.
Road construction? All right. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Here's Mark Wahlberg getting worked up about traffic on I-90. Guys, I've been hanging out on the road all day. What's going on? Are you serious? Come on. Traffic's been backed up, man. Come on, I'm ready to go here. Let's go. Come on, feel it.
Like Boogie
Stupid.
Nights.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go here.
Stupid.
That's great.
That's the worst
All
impression.
coked up. You got to do Mark Wahlberg all coked up.
Yeah. Come on, man. I've been doing lines all day. Come on. I'm ready. I don't care if I-90's closed down. Come on. Get in the car. Let's go. You want to go back to the hotel, right? Let's go. Come on. Feel it. Feel it.
I like it. Feel it.
Stupid.
What do you think is the best way to merge comedy and music together, since you seem to have done a lot of that?
In terms of stand-up comedy? Or?
To make it, like to merge them together successfully, like, because when has it been a good experience and when has it been it sounds usually a shitty experience. Like, I've opened for a bunch of bands in like one show, and they just paid me to go up and try not to bomb while they like change stage settings behind me.
The best way, in my opinion, the best way to have stand-up comedy at all at a music show is to just let the comedians go up before anybody performs live musically. Because once
Try to tell them you don't want to follow Metallica?
Yeah. Because once a band performs,
the energy,
it's not cohesive to stand-up comedy. And I would, honestly, and Jim and I talk about this all the time, that you go up there and you just preach to the choir. Like, when I'd open for bands, I'd be like, man, I think we should legalize pot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for getting drunk.
Yeah, that's what I resorted to after a while. I was just getting them whooping about stuff.
Yeah, let's do some fucking.
Jim always tells me he goes in there with some quick hitters. Boom, boom, machine gun.
And then I've seen Jim sometimes kind of like, because, comedians, when we're on stage, we call an audible. We'll start going down a road and we'll be like, you know what? And we'll call an audible, like, this crowd. All right, I know what I need to do. I've seen Jim call an audible where he's like opening up for Slayer, where he goes, all right, hey, you guys want some T-shirts? Like, he'll just get the Jägermeister girls to throw out T-shirts and stuff. But it's tough. Like, it's as much as we want to be. I think that's why musicians and comedians have always gotten along, because every band I've ever known has been loaded with goofballs.
Yeah,
loaded with goofy guys who love watching comedies on their bus. And stand-up comedians. And every comedian wishes they could be a rock star. So there's a mutual admiration society there. But it's always tough. But there's been people who've done it. I know there was a classic story about Steve Martin opening up for the Doobie Brothers at UCLA at the pavilion out there. That this is in the 70s. The Doobie Brothers had a stage that took up the entire basketball arena floor. And then they put the stage in the middle of the basketball arena facing one half of the arena. And the other half was just empty. And Steve Martin, they go, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your opening act, comedian Steve Martin. And Steve walked out and faced the empty half and went, well, I expected there to be a lot more people here, but here we go. And then he just did his whole act with the back to the crowd.
That is great.
And I was like, man, that's fucking awesome. And I think it's also a different time back then.
Yeah.
You can't do the same thing opening for Slayer.
People are starting to do weird shit like that now. There's this comedian Kurt Braunohler. He did a Kickstarter to have a skywriter write "How Do I Land" in L.A. And he had it. Now he's doing one where he puts a sign that's the same size as a stop sign, but it says "No, you stop." And he's putting that under a regular stop sign now. Like, he just does a bunch of weird shit, which is just cool that like people are starting to do stuff like that.
I love that. Yeah, anything that's outside of the box, I think, will always live on. Can I just
sure.
I want to direct everybody to just one thing. Go to facebook.com/ILoveGas. I love gas with 2 S's. And that's my Facebook page. And here's what you'll see: a bunch of fucked up pictures. My profile picture right now. And who knows when you're listening to this, but my Facebook
This will
profile
be on Tuesday.
right now is a picture of me talking to Kenny G while the singer of Megadeth is in a prayer circle behind us. It's a long story.
Is it a Photoshop?
It's not Photoshopped at all. It was
Mustang.
backstage at a Megadeth Slayer concert
he's born again.
in Long Beach, and Kenny G was backstage at the show. Long story. But I will tell you the story behind another picture that I have on there from the roast of Jean Simmons. There's a moment where Steve-O from Jackass got thrown out of the roast. They never explained why he got thrown out. And the reason is because what Steve-O did to get thrown out happened during a break in filming. So they couldn't explain it. But it literally happened right next to me. I pulled out my camera phone and I was like, holy shit. And I took a perfect picture of it, put it on my Facebook page. TMZ tried to buy the picture. I wouldn't sell it to them. Facebook.com/ILoveGas.
So we got to go there to see it.
I Love Gas with 2 S's. Go to the profile pictures, and you will see a perfect picture of Steve-O from Jackass pissing on Danny Bonaducci. It's the coolest picture you've ever seen.
Way.
Wow.
Danny
Pissing on
Bonaducci didn't freak out? Oh, he
Danny.
had to freak out.
Surprisingly,
You got to tweet that out too.
Yeah, and it's you can see Ralphie May laughing his fat tits off in the corner of the picture, and it's like, yeah, it's an awesome picture. Facebook.com/ILoveGas with 2 S's.
And you're on Twitter at Craig Gass Comedy.
Craig Gass Comedy at Twitter.
Where's the CD again?
Getgas.com.
Getgas.com.
Getgas.com, which will link you to
How
everything.
long are you in Cleveland?
Till Monday. I'm going to go to one more baseball game Monday afternoon, and then I'm out.
All right.
So
Where you at on Twitter, Ramon?
Blazer Ramon.
Yeah. You got any upcoming shows? Anything?
Every Monday and Tuesday at Redstone, every Thursday at Blind Pig, and then every Friday at the Centrum Theater.
Okay.
So people can.
You hanging out tonight, Ramon?
Yeah. I'm going to like these street fairs around here, and then I might go see Dom Herrera.
Oh, really?
something.
Shit.
Yeah, Dom's in town.
Damn it.
Right down the street.
At Hilarities?
Yeah.
Where's your show at?
In Kent. I'm doing a show at the
Water Street Tavern.
Oh,
yeah.
Peter's Bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Hot Carl? Where you at?
Hot Carl Ferrara at Twitter and DJSaveMyLife.net.
There it is.
Weddings,
Got
bar
that
mitzvahs,
.net on lock, son.
photo booths,
.net.
karaoke.
Well, this was a lot of fun. This is a great conversation.
Did I take up the entire fucking time?
That's fine with us.
I love those. I could listen to you all day.
Holy shit.
Those are great stories.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, thanks for talking on the podcast, Dick. Thank you for
Couldn't get anything out
ZonMedia.com.
of them.
Yep.
Thanks for everybody showing up.
Have
All right.
a good night.
All right.
Good?
Thank you. It's a wrap.
Thanks, man.
Great story.
Sit down. Sit down, Sonic. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down, Sonic. Sit down. Get your shoes on. Sit down, Sonic.
I've got at least one pair of good shoes in the back of the closet somewhere.